Hey y'all. Well, we made it through another week of pandemic. I guess most of us did. I'm on the back porch here at the old place, taking these two little guys. They're fully feathered out to and they've got their brooding pad, I guess if you want to call it that, all set up. But from what I understand and what I've observed, turkeys are not the smartest animal at this age. Hey, sweetheart, there's a little puppy. And Sissy, have to let her in here to check on things. But sometimes at the age that they're at, turkeys need a little instruction. Come on, mama. Come on. And the best thing to do that is a baby chicken. Now, as they grow, really not the best scenario to have a bunch of turkeys and a bunch of chickens together from just disease and parasite purposes. But at this age, these two little guys are going to be turkey instructors. Thought it ironic that their little transport is going to the turkey house is the same way they came into that house to get incubated. So this is their second journey in that little basket. First they were eggs, and now they're little chicks. We'll show you all the turkeys here. They're quite content in here. We've kind of gusseted it up a little bit, and I'll turn it around for you. I think I can. There. So this is where the turkeys be at. We'll go over here and take a look at them. I put some chicken wire up. This was, those that watched way back, these guys didn't have to go through it, but the first hatch we had here had some broody hens. We got some more in the chicken house we'll go look at in a minute, but man, I went into full out hatch mode. I moved all them broody. That's back when we had those big white broilers. And I don't know if y'all, well, you can't see it, but I had partitions, and I had a hen, 3 hens in here all sitting on eggs, and I had A, B, and C, and I was coming out here taking notes every day, and none of those chickens hatched because I was way too involved with that situation. But learn my lesson and let nature do its thing. Took a little bit, didn't it? But thank goodness these little guys didn't have to go through that. That's probably why they're here today. But we got 24 turkeys, and they're going to be some pretty birds once they get out. With these little chickens, they've got to teach them where the food and water is a little more often, because these little turkeys will forget sometimes. But, total different personalities these turkeys are. They're in a sealed, dry coop, and Sissy's taking the watch for coons and possums and things of that nature, and this old sulfur and mothball border is taking the watch on snakes. So they should be fine. They'll be in here till about 10 weeks old, and then they'll have plenty of area to run. There's going to be some big old things. I went out and visited a buddy this afternoon that raises a lot of birds, and he was trying to talk me into getting a peacock and a pheasant and ducks. And I said, man, I ain't ready for the advanced class. We're just going to stick to a chicken and turkey operation at this point. But I am going to take these quail to him, and he needs some of them, some Bob Whites and all. And he knows what he's doing with them. He's going to hatch us out a bunch, so we'll get back, and I think getting him 7 or 8 quail for a return of 20 or 30 might be a pretty good deal. But I want to show y'all this springtime, and a lot of y'all are getting into chickens. I know from the traffic at the store, and vegetables. It's a good thing. It's a good hobby. It's good, something to think about and play with if you have the room. But for those of you that are buying those Easter chickens, those little babies, just hate to break it to you, it'll be good long term, but you're not going to have a breakfast bullet from those critters till probably Labor Day. So I hope you're not expecting eggs next week, because you're going to have to continue buying those for a little while. They laid about 20 weeks, and tomato plants are flying off the shelf, but you can put it in the ground today. It takes a little planning. You don't just jump up and do something sometimes, but at least you'll be planning ahead. Those tomato plants will give you one of those red ripe rascals probably in middle June if you're planting it today. So Get into chickens if you want to, but don't expect eggs next week. It's a little dark in here. I don't know if it's going to be enough light. It may not. I don't think I can turn the flash on? I don't know. Let me turn this around. We got a broody hen here, and she is, yeah, there we go. So she's been sitting there 19 days today. Underneath her are probably about 5 or 6 eggs, and they're starting to make their entrance. I'm going to come out here when things get quiet tonight and see what's going on. I'm not going to interfere, but once those babies get hatched out, we're going to need to move them into a little bit different environment, because these old hens here probably not going to cotton to a bunch of little babies running around. But you want to talk about, y'all have heard mad as a wet hen. Now this one ain't wet, but she's got babies underneath her. She's never hatched before, but something in her internal clock says she needs to sit there a while on those eggs. But this is how you know they're broody. She may get this camera, y'all. She is upset. She does not want you in there at all. So we're going to let her rest. But I'll come out here later this evening and check and see if those little critters... if you put your hand in there, and I have, you have to check on things. You're going to have a bruise. Sure are. Because that's a mama on her babies. And we know how protective that can be. Story hit me seeing that over the last few weeks. There was a couple of tribes way back in the dark ages, and one lived on the mountain and one lived in the lowlands, and they were always at each other. Well, the mountain folks came down and raided the village of the lowlanders and pillaged it pretty hard, took one of the babies and took off back up the mountain. Just stole it outright. Well, the village elders pulled together and decided they'd have a plan to go get that little baby back. They sent their best and brightest out to climb that mountain, and they worked for days and days on it. Tried to find this trail and that trail. They didn't know how to get up that mountain. They were lowlanders. After about 5 days of doing their best efforts of clearing brush and trying to find the trail, they decided to call it. Was packing up their gear to head home and was going to give up. They noticed a mother coming down in the mountainside where they were trying to get to, carrying a baby. It was the mother of the baby that had been stolen, and she had found a way to retrieve it. The men looked just perplexed at this scene. As she got closer, they called out and said, "Ma'am, we've been trying for 5 days to get up that mountain to get that baby. Can't find a way. How in the world did you do it?" She said, "Well, it's because it's my baby." Difference in motivation, isn't it? That's like this one right here. You ain't getting in that garden, y'all. I'm just going to tell you. She has made it her playpen, and I've got real close to angry seeing these paw prints on these corn, but that's all right, too. She's going to check on her baby, I guess. She's out here chasing a chicken hawk last night, got me tickled. These birds and critters ain't got a chance on this old place because she's got a place to guard. And now she's flying solo, so she's got double duty. That's good stuff. I got a ticket day before yesterday. Kind of surprised, actually. I didn't expect it. No, not that kind of ticket. It's actually a good ticket. Showed a little leadership in business. I was kind of taken aback from it. The whole situation, thought about it a day or so, and went back last night and took care of it. But ran to town to get a little grub the other evening. And Jordan's a Chick-fil-A man, and I enjoy it. I do. Good company, stellar company. But I like me some Popeyes fried chicken. So I got mine and went over to Chick-fil-A, and I'm going through this long line and masked up and sanitized and all that, and get up to the drive-thru window, pay for the order. I had the money, but I just ran from the field, been working all afternoon, and just ran to town to get some. Well, lo and behold, they only took credit cards, and I'd left mine on the little desk there, and just took my wallet without it. And man, I was in a jam, because I had the money to pay for it, but couldn't take cash. Had to have a credit card. So there we were. at an impasse. They had a hot order of food, and I had cash, but not the right way to pay. I was kind of put out there for a second. Before I knew it, the food was coming in my window, happily saying, "Don't worry about it, sir. Thank you for coming by." I'm like, "No, that ain't right." So the little old girl took it back, and it was between me and the manager at that point. And she smiled and said, "Sir, don't worry about it. Thank you for coming by." And I'm like, "Well, I want a ticket or something where I can come back and pay for this, because I didn't know you were doing credit card only." So they gave me my ticket, and I'm sure they never expected to see me again. But they did yesterday evening, about 5:30. And of all the employees and all the people that I could have ran into, I pulled into that crowded drive-thru expecting to wait in line just to simply pay, and I'd been okay. But the young lady that had helped me the night before in the confusion just lit up like a Christmas tree when she saw me. She said, "I remember you." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I got a bill to pay." So she kind of sped me through the line, and Jordan, this diabetic, gets a Diet Coke. And they noticed that was on the order, so she brought me my receipt and a Diet Coke. I didn't have the heart to tell her that wasn't for me. But Jordan had him another Diet Coke from Chick-fil-A. That's the kind of leadership that it takes, y'all, to make a decision. Really impressed with that. That was good stuff. So no doubt I didn't get a ticket per se. But it felt good to go back and make that right. Isn't that something? This whole thing and situation has changed a lot, hadn't it? Saw a friend post she had a dream or something that she had hugged one of her friends and realized that can't do that right now. Maybe it'll get back to that before long, won't it? This too shall pass. Well, my friends southeast of us, my hometown of Huntsville, just saw they got pounded with some hail. Guess we got a little bit of weather coming this way. I don't think that's headed here, but that old corn and cream crowders and zipper cream peas. Going to get a little drink this evening. They got one last night, and we should see some green by Sunday evening or Monday, if Sissy will keep her big paws out of it. But I'm not complaining. Let's get that clear. Tomatoes are doing good. The pinto beans are thriving. And it's going to be time to dig taters here for too long in that other garden. But I was staggering the crops, or planning to, on these old peas, but may end up on these 4 rows. They may come up about the same time as these other ones. And me and Jordan may not get a reprieve on that harvest after all. Maybe picking the whole garden every day. But that'll be all right too, won't it? Truly hope y'all have had a good week. Keeping it between the ditches and doing what you can to stay safe, and using some common sense. That'd go a long way right now, wouldn't it? Sure would. Let me walk over here and we'll do a quick roll call. It's getting a little chilly for April, but we'll see where y'all are at and how y'all doing. Sissy might even come up. Sissy don't, she'll walk with me. Now, Bo liked to walk when I was talking. I guess Sissy just don't like to hear me ramble. So when I ain't talking, she'll talk, or she'll walk with me. But let's see if she'll sit here while we do a little roll call. Hey, sweetheart. Now, if she gets up and jumps and runs, there's probably a hawk flying over. Isn't that right? That's right. Yeah. She's something else. All right, let me roll through this real quick, and we'll call it an evening. I can get on up here. See, she go. What are you doing? You gonna say hi? Okay. Let's see. There's Miss Donna Wells down Huntsville Way. Hope you survived that storm. Try to keep her there. There's Jan Freeman from Arkansas. Maria's busy cracking pecans, quarantine chores. Big hail in Trinity, Kathy said. There's Kenneth checking in, and see, she's tired of hearing it already. Oh, man. Hello from Cedartown, Georgia, says Ann Garman. France is in the house. Hello, Dominique. How are you? Good to see you check in. Hope y'all are doing well over there. Let's see. There's Peggy. Guineas would be good, but they're mainly either a treat for the bobcats or an alarm. And I got a pretty good alarm right sitting over there. And I'm not trying to feed no bobcats. Sissy's got enough to do without chasing a bunch of guineas all over the pasture. Poor thing. She's got a bunch of wild, goofy turkeys coming that she don't even know. Her duty's about to get ramped up. Poor thing. Ducks will be fun. All those will be fun, but she's just one dog, y'all. You don't want to bait that trot line too hard. You have too many folks coming in to get it. She can only do so much. There's Nina Denton checking in, or Christina. Let's see. I think she's tagging us by. Hey, Aggie from Allen, Texas. Good to see you. Mr. Roy is checking in. Carolyn Fuller. A wet set 10 hen. How about that? I never heard of that one, Carolyn. Thank you. I had to put that in my repertoire. Is that how you say that? That's kind of French. Maybe Dominique can tell me if I got that right. That's French with a East Texas slang. I don't know. I better leave that alone. Teresa, how are you? Dorothy's saying howdy from Groveton, Texas. Thank you, Aggie, for that. Let's see, James, what kind of hood coonery is this? Well, it's some hood coonery for sure. That's all right, though. Carla's saying howdy. Good to see you, James. Wyoming in the house. Hey, Nolan. There's a good man. I guess he's still serving in the fire department. Hadn't kept up with him. He and I had the privilege to work together at Cabela's there in Waco. Always enjoy working with him. Thanks for checking in, buddy. Carla's saying hello again. There's Janice Dazelle Robertson in Appleby, just up the road there. Andrew's checking in from Interlachen, Florida. Beautiful day. Been baking some Meemaw treacle scones. I wonder if that's what Meemaw called tea cakes. Well, if you told her she had to bake a scone, I don't know if she'd understood that kind of language. I'm smelling what you're selling, though. How about that? I'm sure that's good eating. Had one of my good friends and regular egg buyers. She won't take them for free, even though I've insisted, especially today. She come by with a loaf of jalapeno cheese bread that she had just made because she needed some more eggs, and wanted to pay me on top of that. I'm like, well, my goodness, can't we just barter and call it even with this bread? That's some good stuff. But she's also the one who gave us the greenhouse, the spines for it. Her husband did, and I wasn't able to put it to use like I wanted to, so my right-hand person there at the store, Sylvia, got her greenhouse knocked out. Her husband bought her one for Christmas, and that little storm we had in January took off all the plastic. It actually bent the spines up pretty hard. So I had spines, and she had plastic. She needed a greenhouse. So the main thing was that it went for a good use. And boy, she has been some making the use out of it, I'll tell you. And she has. Anyway, sidetracking again with squirreling. Melissa saying happy Saturday. Colleen's in the house with Sharon, Nebraska. Hey, Ken, how are you, buddy? Nancy, yeah, she is. She's a pretty one. There's Deborah saying howdy. Jan in Arkansas. A few folks from Arkansas. There's Connie. That's good stuff. Yeah. Better stay safe on that first responding, brother, if you're still doing that. Talking to Nolan. Wet sitting hen. All right. Got you, Carolyn. Joyce is in Athens, and there's Karen Wood Smith. All right. I think that wraps it up for the evening. Sissy, you ready for the night watch, baby? I think she is, y'all. She's tired of Dad to quit rambling so she can walk with him, because that's about the only way we walk, huh? Just quiet. Ain't no sits and all that talking, is it? Y'all have a good evening. Be the light and just enjoy this time with wherever you're at. Kind of a rare time. Make some memories this Saturday night. Maybe play some cards or some dominoes with those closest to you. If you start on Monopoly, you'll be still playing it next year before you're done with it. At least that's been my experience. Guess that'd be all right, too. All right. Good night, y'all. Be the light. We'll talk to you later.